changes.
Hey, good evening everybody. Welcome to the channel. It's Saturday, January 16th, 2021, and I want to talk about Poshmark and their IPO initial offering. So if you're not familiar with what that is, an IPO initial offering is when a company goes public where you can buy the stock right off of any stock trading site or through any brokerage or firm. And Poshmark went live this week. I think it was Thursday. It was Thursday, which would have been the 14th. For some reason, their stock was initially being estimated at like $40 to $50. It actually opened Thursday morning, somebody quote me if I'm wrong, $102 or $103, $102.50, something like that, which is really, really high for a stock. A lot of people speculated, inflated it, it just shot through the roof. But if you watch, not very long after that, it nosedived down into the 80s. In fact, I think it went into the 70s at one point. Somebody quote me on that as well. It kind of recovered. It kind of did a little thing through the day where some people were like, okay, I sold off and made my profits. Some people realized they had to hold it for a little while, so it kind of stabilized. But if you fast forward to yesterday, which was Friday, it ended up at $82 and change, 20% lower than what it started the previous day at, which is huge for a stock. So a lot of people bought Posh right away in the 90s or hundreds, and they're down a lot. Now let me tell you two things that you have to understand about stocks and about Posh in particular and about IPOs. Whenever a stock comes out as an IPO, it always has a tank job, which means it always goes down at some point right after the initial offering. That's just because a lot of people get excited, they buy into it, it shoots up. The more people that are buying the stock, the higher the stock goes, and then all those people that bought very first thing, they just sell off, they make their profit, and that causes the stock to tank. That's pretty common in almost every IPO. Not always, but almost always. So I never touch a stock in its first couple of days, generally not in its first couple of weeks either. As far as where Poshmark is, the second thing you should probably know, eBay stock currently floats around the mid 50s. It's been as high as 60. It's been down in the 30s and 40s earlier this year. If you're talking about eBay being a $12 billion business hovering around the $55 mark, we know that Amazon is a $250, $300 billion business. They hover around, what, $1,000 a share? I don't even know what Amazon's at anymore. I don't buy it. It's too expensive. There's no way that Posh is going to maintain $100+ a share. I think Posh is probably a $50, $60, $70 share company when it ends up stabilizing. It's not stable. It's only been live for a day and a half or 2 days. Monday could prove to be interesting for it, but I do want you to proceed with caution for the Poshmark stock. It's still at $82. I don't think it's a good buy at $82. I think it's going to go down below that. It's going to go down into the 70s. I don't know how quickly, I don't know how many days, but I just don't think $82. I still think that's overpriced. It's overinflated. And I would have no interest in buying Poshmark currently. I could be completely wrong, just like every stock proves people wrong all the time, and it could shoot back up over $100. I just don't see that happening. So I think a ton of people in the community also believe that as well. And when I looked at the Poshmark groups, it was shocking. People that don't know anything about stocks were just like, I'm buying, buy. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope they're not losing too much money. And they bought it like 90 and 100, and there were people telling them to push it up. And honestly, in my opinion, the people telling them to push it up were the people holding current stock that wanted it to go up so they could sell and dump their own stock, make a few bucks, and stick other people with it. And that's kind of how it goes. So if you do want to invest, Robinhood's a great app. You can do that. I'll put a link to Robinhood below. It's everybody that's on Robinhood, they give you an affiliate link. So I'll put that below. And if you want to give it a try, but please, always know that you only play stocks with what you can afford to lose. Don't go bankrupt over stocks because it's never a guaranteed thing. There is strategy, there is ways to be successful, but it takes a lot of experience and a lot of learning. So I lose money on stocks, I make money on stocks. It ends up being on the plus side usually, but there are times that I've taken a pretty good dip of cash. So the average ends up on the plus, but it's scary. So just be careful with stocks if you decide to do anything with Poshmark. I know a lot of people ask me if I was buying Posh stock. No. If it gets down into the 60s or 70s, I might consider it. But honestly, I think that's where it's going to stabilize, between 55 and 65, maybe similar to eBay. I wouldn't feel comfortable buying Posh stock over 70. Even that is probably too high. So just keep that in mind when you decide to dip into the stock world. IPOs, initial public offerings, day one, day two, week one public, it's just crazy and it's volatile, and be careful. So I just wanted to address that in the video. Appreciate everyone who asked about it. If you don't know anything about Poshmark or you want to learn how to sell on Poshmark, it's part of my training program. It's below. You can use the link. There's a breakdown demo video, and then you can make your decision after that. So I'll link that all below. And as always, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the content and you want to see more. You can turn that bell on, and it will give you notices every time I post a new video. So from very cold, if you can't tell, Orlando, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.